One race remains for 14 drivers on the route to a championship, leaving us with the very surface that brought up stock car racing and has never been a part of this WORC Dynamo Designs series before. Thor makes his very first appearance on the schedule, where live from the virtual Volusia Speedway Park, we welcome you to the final regular season race of the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series and the Volusia Ironman Nationals, live here on the KBueno Racing Network. So happy to have you along for the coverage right here from Volusia Speedway Park, where alongside Keelan Belcher in the broadcast booth, once again, my name is Kenneth Bueno. Keelan, this is your background. You've covered a lot of dirt racing over the course of the sim, but never quite in the manner like this. You've never seen this combo before. Xfinity Series cars at a track like Volusia. Usually you're accustomed to seeing either dirt midgets or dirt sprint cars around this track, but it's a very new combo, a very new challenge, and one that'll be very interesting for the regular season finale out of all events.
Yeah, and one that you don't even see on the real side of things. And you got Trucks and Cup Series. They both visited Dirt. Xfinity Series has yet to do that. But here in the WORC Dynamo Design Series, they're sending the Xfinity cars out there. They're heavy, but they got a setup built for them that is turning about 20-second laps around here. So they're getting around it fast enough. It's a half mile. They got to do what they got to do. But a regular season finale, the points are tight. So just such a interesting place to end your regular season, and for some guys it may be helping them out, others may be hurting them.
And this is one of those tracks that when you first look at the schedule, you either circle it because it's pretty much your playground, your wheelhouse, or you circle it because you want to avoid it at all costs, and especially if you're close to the top 14 for the entrance into the playoffs 1 week from now at the Darlington Raceway. You want to make sure that tonight goes as swimmingly as possible, because if you're not a good dirt racer, if you're not a driver accustomed to the settings here tonight, and good luck to you trying to adapt to what's going to be a full packed night of dirt racing. Let's take a look at Volusia Speedway Park first on the virtual side. As we'll take a look overhead with our KBueno track map. Our images provided to us always by Google Earth, located just into Volusia County in De Leon Springs, Florida. And Keelan, this is a very interesting track. It's a very historic track with history dating back to 1968, and this place is full of great racing overall.
Yeah, racetrack in the Volusia County of Florida, where they host amazing races throughout the year, and most notably on the dirt side of things in the Dirt Car Nationals to open up the year, which are wrapping up as we speak this week. And they had World of Outlaws sprint cars, World of Outlaws late models, and everything out there on that racetrack. But of course tonight it does play host to the WORC Dynamo Design's regular season finale here, where there would be 4 heat races, top 4 making it out of each, followed by a B main where top 4 will make it out of that, and then our 75 lap feature. So a lot of racing tonight at this half mile.
Definitely. So a lot of racing to be held. And of course, with a regular season finale, you cannot go talking without the points standings. You cannot go ignoring what's going to happen within the point standings. Here's a look at 10th all the way through 19. This is really the ballpark of where we're going to see a lot of drivers either gain a lot of points or lose a lot of them. There are some drivers in this list, as you look in the middle of your screen, that are not here in tonight's action. So either if they're above the cut line, they're going to lose a lot of points. If they're below the cut line, they are going to pretty much fall out of competition. But the main battle here, Keelan, is Conor Herrilla and Frederick Seagraves. These two drivers have been rather close of the past couple of weeks, and even the week before at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, they kind of held this simple gap. Herrilla was able to knock above the top 14. Seagraves kind of fell out of it, so this is the closest battle we'll see. Ezekiel Reyes is not going to be here tonight, I don't believe, in the session, so we won't be able to see him gather his 22-point deficit in terms of this. So pretty much the battle we're going to watch is everybody 14th up and Frederick Seagraves to see if he can try to overcome this gap. Keelan, that's very close in the point standings. I know Herrilla and Seagraves are both here over the course of this field. So if you're either one of them, what strategy do you put over here on the dirt track?
I think the best thing you can do is start out of the gates early, get a fast qualifying lap, run well in your heat, make sure you're in that feature in a decent starting position, because you do not want to have to work your way through the consolation if you don't have to. But it is a 75-lap race, so if you're further back in the pack, it's not the end of the world. These guys were actually, those two that we just saw, they were actually the bottom 2 in qualifying, as Josh Patterson took the pole award. So they got some work to do, but it is not the end of the world, as it is a fairly decently long night.
It's going to be a long night, and we start with heat racing. That's what we'll be in our first step all the way to the main feature, 75 laps. We have a 7-car grid. We'll show you exactly who is a part of it here from the Volusia Speedway Park. Josh Patterson is on pole right there in the Limeade Toyota Supra. He will lead us to green in this first of many heats for 10 laps. You'll find Hunter Collier to his outside in row number 1. Timmy Spatz, Logan Pugh, the next drivers in line before you find Shane Fuller, Frederick Seagraves, and Connor Trafari. It looks like Trafari did not make the grid. He's going to start from pit road. So this will be the entire field. Looks like 6 total cars on the route to our first ever heat race in WORC, I'd say, history, Dynamo Designs, at least in this campaign so far. Any drivers are looking for, Keelan, right before we go green?
Well, I know Josh Patterson back in the QuickTime Sprint Car Series. He actually had a good amount of success himself. He got a couple hard chargers in his time, never contended for a win, but he is very decent on the dirt side of things, to say the least, possibly compared to the rest of his opponents. And in the late model series, some of these guys may have got some experience in that when WORC did test the late models out. And actually, their season is still continuing in that. So they got some experience in some of these guys you might have to keep your eye on, but I'm looking at Josh Patterson to hopefully start out tonight strong for him in that 0-2.
And Patterson, if he can get this from the pole, from the first starting position here in Heat 1, it's only going to help him further. Of course, a lot of the heats and the transfers do matter in terms of where you start in the main feature race, as long as you can get there. And I believe we have slightly over 20 drivers, so maybe a handful or just one or two are going to be going home. A majority of the drivers, including many that could participate in this heat, could end up in the feature race, and most of them have a very good chance of being there for the drop of the green flag for 75 laps. We're ready for the green, though, for the first of 10 laps here in heat number 1. Two Toyotas to line at the front row. Collier with a little bit of a sluggish start as they head for the green flag. Josh Patterson takes the field through turn 1 and 2 for the first time.
Patterson coming off of turn 2 here in heat number 1, trying to gap himself from Logan Pugh in the 0-1, who makes a move to the bottom to track a little bit slicked out from hot laps earlier in the night. As Pugh tries to reel in the gap, Patterson gets the run off the top. Now going back into turn number 1 after Patterson led the opening lap in the heat race. Pugh trying to set his sights on him, but Timmy Spatz not letting Pugh get too far out. He's going to try and make himself a move for second.
Timmy Spatz is going to get into the rear bumper of Pugh, so a bit of first-end contact there on the front end of that 44. Is going to fall back just a bit, maybe allow Shane Fuller to get in this mix, although they are pretty much gapping Hunter Collier, who started second. Now he's all the way pretty much in the back of the pack, just behind Frederick Seagraves. They might battle for position number 5 to get into, or at least to try to head away into the main feature event. Josh Patterson, though, well clear of about already a second, almost a second and a half as of lap 3. Patterson picking up the pace here in the last couple laps. Only driver to put a lap within the 19-second range out of this field.
And the next closest was Logan Pugh. Last time around, he ran on 20.2 as he slips back a little bit. It's interesting to see how these guys negotiate this racetrack, though, as these cars are very heavy compared to everything else that goes out here. And I saw it in hot laps how these guys are just having to sling their race cars into the corner and how the track sped up. And I can kind of see it now. You got that little slick line where it's starting to turn black. You use that to help you turn your race cars. Timmy Spatz makes a move for second. Pugh going to cross him back over. Now Pugh to the second position, but they're getting that little slick and they're slinging it to the left, and that's the fastest way to get your car turned. And now I'm starting to see how the track got faster as the night progressed. It might not get much faster than what it is right now, though.
Saw a pass there for third. Timmy Spatz swung way high up the racetrack, so Shane Fuller will occupy in third. I think the worries are not really here with Spatz. If he can keep paces, Fuller goes to the outside of a very dangling Logan Pugh. They're both going to make contact this time in a 1 and 2. May allow Timmy Spatz to get back in it. I think it's not good if they continue to bang doors here, Keelan, because it could invite Hunter Collier back into the mix. Right now, if these drivers continue to ride very clean, which seems to be on and off right now, they're all good into the features. We catch 3 laps to go for heat number 1. All these drivers within the top 4, they are safe if they can just keep themselves here. But Hunter Collier is starting to pick it up, and he's picking it up quick.
Trying to reel in on Timmy Spatz and Shane Fuller. Those two guys side by side in front of him as Logan Pugh starts to get a little bit more comfort in the second position. Coming to 2 laps to go. Hunter Collier trying to reel him in, but it's all Josh Patterson out front. Now up by about 5 seconds now in that 0-2 machine. It's pretty evident that he's been running some practice and getting that 0-2 dialed in.
No doubt, Josh Patterson very quick. He's going to get the white flag here in heat number 1 as you see Shane Fuller. He's back in P4. He's going to try and fend off a charging Hunter Collier. But Josh Patterson gets the white flag in heat 1. Looks like he's going to easily run away with this. We'll continue to man the battle, and there it is. Fuller goes straight into the wall, so Hunter Collier will advance unless he makes a big mistake here. It doesn't look like he will, but Josh Patterson wins heat 1. Logan Pugh will be second. Timmy Spatz in third. And how about that, Keelan? Already a last lap pass for the transfer spot. Hunter Collier started second, fell back, but is able to advance on.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember or not, we saw Shane Fuller do that exact same thing in hot laps earlier, where he took that Sunoco machine down into turn number 1 and nosedived it into the wall. Sometimes with some of these guys, they get so aggressive going into these corners, trying to make up as much time as they can. It's all about throttle control here and really just patience with that race car. And some of these guys are going to have to learn that the hard way tonight, as Shane Fuller's going to have to work his way through the consolation.
So Shane Fuller, it looks like Frederick, Seagraves are going to be two of the drivers in the consolation race. This here's our grouping for the second heat of our action here tonight from Volusia Speedway Park. Going to be Quentin Haley on the front row. You have the first starting position with the 51 of Jay Mulder, the Limeade Triple winner just a couple of weeks ago at the Urbandale Speedway. He'll line up the outside of row number 1. Gino Mero, Brayson Collins all the way through row number 2. Maybe watch Brayson Collins. He's got a lot of confidence at these dirt tracks. He's going to look to advance into the main event. Shane DiMantova will start on the inside of the top 5. Conor Herrilla, who is right on the bubble with the top 14 in the point standings. CSP 6. Looks like Matthew McDonald is supposed to be the 7th driver, although he will not start. Same deal as Connor Trafari, who is also not able to start his respective heat. So pace truck will be off. And I think, Keelan, we're going to have ourselves a very fun heat number 2. A lot of great drivers to look at. Quentin Haley, of course, being one of them. Brother of Justin Haley, the NASCAR Xfinity Series driver. Brayson Collins, a very skilled driver on dirt. Shane DiMantova, a person you've commentated races with on the dirt side. So I think a spotlighted heat number 2 here as we're about to go green.
Yeah, pretty stacked heat here. A lot of good race car drivers and a lot of guys looking to make an opportunity to maybe put some fear into Josh Patterson in the O2. He hasn't had a lot in the first 15 or so minutes of this, but Quentin Haley in at 13, he was fast in hot laps, seeing what he can do. Jay Mulder, who I've personally seen in the Quick Time Sprint Car Series in the past, he knows what he's doing on these dirt tracks, trying to get some speed tonight. Like you mentioned, a Limeade Triple winner. He's found some success this season, and most notably last week, he was up there racing for the win before, fortunately, got turned into the fence, but was racing up there for the win. So a lot of proven experience up in this heat right here, and it'll be interesting to see how this one shakes out.
And in the last 3 races, Jay Mulder has picked up 2 top 3s. Road America, I don't believe, was one of them. So with Irwindale and Indianapolis, looks like Jay Mulder has been on a hot streak. We'll see if it continues here tonight from Volusia Speedway Park as the pace truck makes the soft left down at pit road. Quentin Haley, Jay Mulder, your first row, and the green flag for heat 2, 1 of 10 laps, just like the first. Brayson Collins, though, immediately charges to the top. He'll duck his nose to the inside. 3 wide for the lead off turn 2.
Haley went way too high there in the corner, opened up the door for Brayson Collins, who went right through the middle and took the top spot away. Jay Mulder got sideways and straightened out too early on the bottom of the racetrack, almost clipped the 13 of Haley. But now it's Gino Mero making a move on Jay Mulder. Remember, top 4 transfer in as the race for the lead heats up.
Here's Quentin Haley on board with him as he's directly to the inside of Brayson Collins. That time around the back straightaway, he nosed ahead just a tad, but Collins is actually falling back significantly. Looks like he may have had a mistake there in the middle of the corner. So Jay Mulder will try to take advantage. Collins not going to worry for now, as the battle for the transfer spot is as hot as ever. There's Herrilla, a little bit too overeager, almost gets into the wall. Shane DiMantova will sit into the 4th transfer spot. It looks like Gino Mero will try to take it all away.
And Mero slides under DiMantova and gives him the old 1-2 as Mero takes the transfer spot away for now. But DiMantova not going to let him get away too easy as he slips back to the 5th position. He's going to give him one right back as they go into the corner. And there goes Shane DiMantova. He's now in the transfer spot. These guys rubbing up all over each other as Shane DiMantova now holds down the transfer spot.
But DiMantova has to hold it for another 6 or so laps. Quentin Haley, though, has already gapped to about 1.5 seconds, so similar to what Josh Patterson did in the heat. Actually, it looks like a big mistake there from Haley in 1 and 2 will allow Brayson Collins and company to sneak back in. And DiMantova looks like he had a mistake of his own because Conor Herrilla is back in it. Gino Mero takes over 4th. This is far from over here, Volusia. They are tangling toe-to-toe for that 4th and final transfer spot as Brayson Collins now looks for the lead.
Action all over the racetrack as Collins goes to the outside of Haley, and he's going to make a move right on the cushion as they make contact again. Just a little contact will send your car all the way up the racetrack. Quentin Haley maintains the lead for now as Jay Mulder under Brayson Collins as Collins was headed straight towards the inside wall, got that nose pointed all the way in there, trying to get that car to rotate. Jay Mulder down to the 2nd position.
And you got to also wonder here, Keelan, with the top 3, the way they're driving right now. Of course, they're looking at it like if it's the last lap. Of course, they want to win this heat as we catch 3 laps to go. Haley is still in control of this one. You don't want to fight too hard because That transfer spot could come up in just a moment. Gino Mero, though, still trying to block on Conor Herrilla. But let's say Mulder and Brayson Collins, they go side by side. They make a bit of contact. Could send the driver around. Could kill the momentum of one. And then all of a sudden, you have yourself either a trip into the main event or a trip into the end of it all. I guess the Consi races are pretty much the end of your night here from Volusia Speedway Park. We continue to watch Brayson Collins. He's going to try and catch up to the Canadian Jay Mulder, but Jay Mulder's trying to catch Quentin Haley, who catches the white flag in Heat 2.
Quentin Haley out front trying to take a heat win here, who has been in front for a majority of it. Jay Mulder in a 51 trying to reel him down. Brayson Collins in third. Everybody makes it through 1 and 2 pretty easily, as it's going to be Quentin Haley off the final corner. He's going to win heat number 2. Jay Mulder in second, Brayson Collins third, and a little bit further back, it'll be Gino Mero in the 71, mistake-free through 3 and 4, transferring in. Herrilla and DiMantova will have some work to do.
So they'll go straight to the consolation races. Quentin Haley smiling ear to ear. Here's the winner in heat number 2, and just as quickly as we end that heat, we quickly start another one. Mason Sweet going to be leading this one throughout, as he's got Gene Wolfe to his outside of the 800 machine. Ryan Martin and Austin Doran are going to be side by side in row number 2. Doran, of course, coming off of the recent win last week at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, was his second win of this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series campaign. TJ Lair, the number 960, will be in 5th. 6th will go to the 095 of Parker White. DJ Powell in the 68 will be the final driver in this heat, although looks like Parker White did not line up on the grid. So again, we'll slim it down, Keelan, to 6 drivers. I think that's a constant trend. We're seeing what looks to be 7-8 cars in a heat, and then one doesn't show up, one doesn't grid up.
Yeah, seems to be the trend, as I believe Parker White having to get to Road to Pro tonight, so might be running some laps of practice there, as Mason Sweet following the common trend that everybody else did and being on pole in this heat, going up to the top of the racetrack, giving Gene Wolfe the bottom. So we'll see how that fares in this one. It's worked out decently for the other 2 guys, as they did end up winning their heat, but off the jump last time it was Quentin Haley who got a hit from the guy behind him, which in this case it would be Austin Doran. So maybe Doran saw what Collins will do, maybe trying to move Mason Sweet. Of course, he's got a bit of momentum on his side, getting 3 straight top 3s and winning in 2 of his last 3 races. So see what that 55 can do on the dirt.
Yeah, Austin Doran has been on fire and also put up a great performance at Road America just a couple of weeks back as well. So pretty much 3 straight races we've seen that 55 either in the lead, winning a race, or just up front, casually doing well. That 55 now going to have to be a little more versatile this time, as he's going to have to tackle the dirt pretty much just like everybody else. And Doran, obviously, like many of the drivers in this heat and throughout the field, looking to advance via the top 4 tonight. Mason Sweet going to be on the green flag here. Gene Wolfe going to get an even jump, though, to green as the pace truck makes its way down to pit road. Doran looking for the outside on the 11 car, and they're almost 3 wide. In fact, already 3 wide for the lead. Mason Sweet on the very top. Gene Wolfe in the bottom. Austin Doran through the middle.
And Doran got to the middle as Sweet bounced off the outside wall. Give lead to Gene Wolfe right now, but Austin Doran not letting him get too far out, but Doran washes up on the bottom of the racetrack. Give Mason Sweet the position for now, but off the corner, the 55 takes it back over. There's so many momentum shifts on these race cars throughout the corner. They'll get the nose out in front, but then get pulled on the bottom off the corner, which is very interesting. But of course, with the heavier race car, might be a bit different on how they drive compared to some others, as they remain side by side here, as Sweet gives Doran a big tap there, give him second. And now Ryan Martin going to try to make a move on that 55 for the 3rd spot.
They both made contact there heading into turn 3. Ryan Martin, though, not enough grip to get to the inside still on Austin Doran. So 55 will clear for 3rd for a moment. He'll slide down the track, chase the car down. Actually, he goes around. So I think the first time we see a car officially spin here off of the corner. Luckily for the 55, he is in the last transfer spot. DJ Powell and TJ Lair have had troubles of their own. Looks like the 960 and the 68 seem to be in deep trouble there. Battle for the lead, though, continues. Here's Mason Sweet, the Limeade Media car to the very top of Gene Wolfe. Not going to be able to do it, though, going to 3.
Coming to halfway in our final heat of the evening, Mason Sweet trying to reel in Gene Wolfe. He's getting to the outside, but has not been able to take that position away just yet. Continuing to try and reel down the 800.
And you can see here, especially over the course of the night and how that's progressed, drivers racing on this surface. Keelan, you touched on it just a little bit. It's slicking off very substantially since the drop of the green in qualifying, and really in practice where drivers are putting laps in as we get officially 4 laps to go in this respective heat. You see the lighter shade of brown there in the middle of the racetrack comparative to the darker shade on the top of the racetrack. That lighter shade is all slick stuff. That's all track that cars have been running on, and it gets really tough to handle your race car, especially on throttle with these heavy stock cars, and how heavy the rear end starts to slip out by the time you put in the gas pedal. So the lighter shade of brown, very slick. The top shade where it's darker brown is definitely a lot easier to control your car. The only problem is with how heavy these cars are and how tough it's been to really be on the brakes, Keelan, on the entrance of the corner. It's been really tough to stay up on that darker brown stuff. Many of the drivers looking to stay on the slick, where I think they seem more comfortable for the moment.
Yeah, that's how Gene Wolfe is driving, but I like what Mason Sweet's doing. Put the front tires in the slick and get that car to kind of rotate, as he, of course, doesn't do it when I mention it, but now he goes to the bottom. But he was getting the front tires in the slick and getting that car to kind of sling to the left and get it turned, and kind of like that, and that's what he has to do with this track slicking it off. You have to get that car really rotated, sling your wheel all the way to the left, and then turn right to go left for almost 90% of the lap.
Gene Wolfe will come out of turn 4. He wins heat 3 by a good margin over Mason Sweet. Great battle between the two. They'll end up settling their differences as Sweet goes into the outside wall. Ryan Martin will be 3rd. Austin Duran will be in 4th in the final transfer spot. DJ Powell and TJ Lear will have to work to the consolations in order to have a hope to get into the 75 lap features. So we'll finish things up. We'll get into, I believe, the next race, which either should be a heat or a consolation. We'll try and find out as the time will tick down. Everybody will get back in, and I think this is the consolation here, Keelan. A lot of these drivers were ones that really did not make it over the course of the respective heats, so this should be one of the consi races to get into the feature tonight.
Yes, this will be the B main coming up. 11 cars enter, and top 8 will make it into tonight's feature action, as 12 drivers are locked in, so top 8 out of this will make it in. And maybe by the theme that we've been seeing, where some guys have been not making it to the grid of their heat, it might be just show up and you might be in. I'm not 100% sure, but could be pretty close to that number.
I believe we'll have a total of 6 cars here. Conor Trafari, Parker White, Matthew McDonald among the drivers that have not gridded, and that's kind of been the thing for them all night long. Either they have already left the session or they have just not found a way to get back into the race. And of course, they're not going to be able to fight what looks to be for their feature hopes. So it's a total of 6 drivers. Shane Fuller will be the first one to the green, with Conor Herrilla to his outside. DJ Powell, Frederick Seagraves among the drivers in row 2. And the final drivers in row 3 include Shane DiMantova and TJ Lear in the 960. We saw the 68 and the 960 go around in the last heat. Had a lot of trouble, so we'll see if they can have it a better clean race this time by, as the pace truck will take them off, and we're going to get ready for 12 more laps of action. We're getting closer to the feature. I think the excitement's already building up before we even find out who are the last drivers to make it in.
Yes, the excitement is building. A dirt race track, put heavy cars out there where they can beat and bang off of each other. That sounds pretty entertaining to me, and we're going to get a show tonight, as 6 guys have gridded up. Top 8 make it in, so you can basically say this serves as a finish high, and you'll start better in the feature. So 12 laps to see what they can do and try and improve their starting position.
So we'll go 1 extra lap here from Volusia Speedway Park. It looks like Shane Fuller will elect to stay on the inside, and we've seen in many of the heats, usually the leader will go up top so they can get the run. Actually, as soon as I say that, Shane Fuller goes up top, so never mind. It looks like Fuller will stay with the trends of the leaders. He understands top lane just a little bit faster, especially off the jump. And I think what we've seen often, Keelan, is the driver there on the outside of road 2, they've been able to get a really great launch going into turn 1. They're really able to beat the drivers on the inside of them in their respective row, and then by the time they get to turn 1, they're already on the outside of the driver who's inside of the first row. So a lot of momentum to gain there, especially if you're the likes of Frederick Seagraves in a very good spot. Green flag out, a bit of a wobble there between Conor Herrilla and DJ Powell, but under green. Powell looks like he struck the outside wall. He's gonna let traffic by, but Shane Fuller clear as day out of turn 2, the race leader.
Yeah, Shane Fuller now in control, as Shane DiMantova trying to make a move on Conor Herrilla, and You see them start to single file out for the most part. A little bit further back, TJ Lear makes a move on Frederick Seagraves and throws him up into the outside wall. TJ Lear to fourth as Seagraves and Powell, the two guys who have been pushed around, round out the pack. Here goes the 20 of Conor Herrilla. He takes the lead away.
Fuller got way loose there in a turn 2, got the car all unsettled, and so lost a lot of speed, gave Conor Herrilla the race lead, at least for the moment. Shane Fuller will fall back to third. Di Mantova has now slipped in via that semi-spin out of the 57. He is now in P2. So Conor Herrilla, remember, him and Frederick Seagraves in a battle as Di Mantova goes way loose out of 2. He's going to be able to save it. He'll fall his position short there to Shane Fuller, but these drivers right here, Herrilla and Seagraves, first and fifth right now as we complete lap number 3. They are fighting for the point standings in the last spot for the playoffs. Top 14 to ever make it in. It's a 7-point advantage for the likes of Conor Herrilla over Frederick Seagraves. It looks like Seagraves has not had a great night. In fact, he's around on the racetrack.
Yeah, he goes around, and so does Shane Di Mantova back there. So that will not completely ruin their nights, but it will give them a harder way to make their way through the feature as we try to get a replay here to see what happened to the 95 and 20. This is Shane Di Mantova on 20. Great to see Seagraves in the 95. Going to start up there with the 20, I believe. Yep, just spins it around on the bottom. Seagraves did the same thing. 2 separate incidents as they do a pretty similar thing.
And they both got loose, and that time Seagraves had overcorrected the race car, got into the wall. Shane Di Mantova kept it all the way down there and struck the inside wall for just a tad. Di Mantova and Seagraves now follow back in 5th and 6th, so they'll be the last drivers in this group as the leaders are now coming up lap cars. That may be Di Mantova, indeed it is. So Di Mantova able to stay out of the way. Conor Herrilla, Shane Fuller in a heated battle. It looks like Herrilla is not giving this up just yet.
Herrilla trying to stick with Shane Fuller in the 57, make a move, trying to take the lead away here in the B main. To the bottom of the racetrack he goes, and he will take that spot away as Fuller slips back on the outside. 20 of Conor Herrilla to the race lead.
Conor Herrilla with a textbook move there on the inside of Shane Fuller, so Fuller will fall back, and he almost gets into the outside wall coming out of turn 2. So the CorvetteParts.net Chevrolet Camaro on his way to potentially take a Consi win. 4 laps to go this time by from the Volusia Speedway Park for Conor Herrilla. Shane Fuller trying to do as much as he can to catch up, but the car's just losing too much time and almost got into the 20 of Di Mantova as he goes into the wall.
Fuller in the fence as he spun around. He relinquishes the second position to the 960 of TJ Lear and got tagged by Frederick Seagraves right there. As everybody goes around him, Fuller now merges back into the racing lane as it's Conor Herrilla out front as Frederick Seagraves around again on a poor consolation effort from him. He has not had the run he's wanted as it's Herrilla out front, taking 2 laps to go.
It looks like the 95 got beached there out of turn 2. We'll see if he found a way around as the leaders will come by. And in fact, he did. So Seagraves was able to at least get his car back. And actually, he just towed it to the garage. So that was a simple solution there for Seagraves, unfortunately. And so Conor Herrilla really fighting himself here as he gets the white flag in heat number, or rather not heat, this consolation race number 1. And Herrilla will try and lap here. 57 to Shane Fuller. That will put 3 cars on the lead lap. By the time they come out of turn 3 and 4, that will not matter. Conor Herrilla, very simple move to get around Shane Fuller, and was able to pull away. Conor Herrilla, the winner of the B main.
Talk about a great effort for him, a guy who comes in right on the bubble here in the regular season finale, needing a good points night to secure his spot in and finding some speed in the B main. He's going to be starting 13th in the feature. Got a little bit of work to do, but of course, showing speed in this B main, kind of flexing his muscles, showing us that he might be here to race for a good finish here in the feature.
So this will be our second B main. Looks like this is really the last chance qualifier for everybody. Actually, no, this is a warm-up here, so I believe we may have a trip into the main event here. The whole driver field now getting ready to warm up, so everybody will be around the track just trying to do the best that they can to put a fast lap down and at least try to get a feel of what it'll be like in race conditions. Of course, Kenneth Bueno, Keelan Belcher along to bring you all the coverage. And Keelan, for the first couple heats from the first B mains, what are your thoughts so far?
It's been a pretty entertaining, action-packed night so far, and these guys have showed us what to expect in a feature, that showed us what these cars are going to drive like, and now we got all 20 guys ready for the feature. 75 laps, a very long race for a dirt track, so it'll be interesting to see what these guys do. But we know how heavy these cars are now, and we know that these race cars are how they're going to drive. They do not drive like a sprint car, which is something I'm used to. So these about a couple thousand pounds heavier. So it's really interesting. These guys are going to be bumping, banging off each other. But Josh Patterson, Quentin Haley, Gene Wolfe are heat winners. They showed their speed, and I'm ready for this feature. It's going to be entertaining.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and we are ready for 75 grueling laps from the virtual Volusia County, or Volusia Speedway Park in Volusia County. We'll get you through your grid, see exactly where every driver and your favorite driver will be starting here tonight for the main feature race. Josh Patterson, your winner in one of the earlier heats tonight. He starts on the pole with a 19.461. That was the time he's saying qualifying. Quentin Haley will start to his outside in that first row. The 02, the 13, gonna bring us to the green flag first.
In row 2, you have the 56 of, what? That's not right. Okay. Yeah, it is. Okay. It's Gene Wolfe in the 800 in the 3rd position, with Logan Pugh in the 01 starting in 4th. Jay Mulder and Mason Sweet. Sorry, those guys are in row 3, 5th and 6th.
Drivers behind through row number 4 on back. Timmy Spatz will be 7th. Bryson Collins, your league owner, he'll start on the outside of that 4th row in 8th. You'll find Ryan Martin, Hunter Collier, the drivers, back to the top 10. Gino Merrill, Austin Doran back to 12th. Conor, Herrilla, TJ Lear, DJ Powell, Shane Fuller, Shane DiMantova, and Frederick Seagraves will line up the full 18-car field. And Keelan, you have this site a lot in the Quick Time series, but we've never seen it with stock cars really before. 3-wide salute here from Volusia Speedway.
Yeah, great sight. It's a great tradition. You love to see it out here on these dirt tracks. It's a big salute to all the fans who came out on the KBueno Racing Network tonight, tuned in, and are excited for some WORC Dynamo Designs National Series action from the Volusia Speedway Park. These guys lining up 3 wide to show their support to you guys. So thank you all for watching with us tonight, and hope you enjoy the show as these drivers look to put one on for everybody.
A lot of them revving the engines, ready to go here for 75 laps. Of course, Josh Patterson showed a lot of strength in the heats. We also saw Quentin Haley do the same. Gene Wolfe, Jay Mulder, Logan Pugh, many drivers on in, showing that they've got speed in their race cars. And so we do not know any of the answers to any of the questions just yet on how this will fare in race conditions. So everybody will come out of the 3-wide salute. There'll be double file once again. We've officially gotten the 1 to green signal from the pace truck. So one more trip around this Volusia Speedway Park, and we will be green for the first time in the feature race. Keelan, any thoughts about what you think is going to happen? Anything you're looking out for before we get started?
I think you just got to look at that top 2, that front row of Patterson and Haley. Those 2, they've had a lot of speed in this heat. I'm just intrigued to see what they can do. Maybe Gene Wolfe going in there, who won the last heat, seeing what he can do up there. Just a lot of fast guys up front. I'm curious to see how it all shakes out.
A lot of quick drivers. We'll see who's the quickest over 75 laps. Green flag is in the air for the first ever Volusia Ironman Nationals here in the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. Hey, everybody, packs it in a turn 1 and 2. It looks like mayhem there coming out of the second corner. They keep it clean. Patterson trying to work to the inside, but not enough to get over Quentin Haley. They spin around, a big crash in 3 and 4.
Gene Wolfe, the first car around, saw Logan Pugh mixed up in it, and then they made some contact a little bit further back, as it all started with the 800 of Gene Wolfe, who rolled off from the 3rd position, already slipping back now to the back of the pack as we try to get a replay to see what happened in this issue right here.
This is in a 3 and 4. I think it was just right there, sandwiched, as he got into Logan Pugh first. And the driver right behind Tim, what appeared to be the 51 of Jay Mulder, also got in to try and check up. They both went around. Bunch of drivers got contact. That's Timmy Spatz. Ryan Martin with contact. Gino Merrill with a big hit there. He slams into TJ Lear. And then Gene Wolfe, arguably with the worst end of it, he ends up pretty much stalled right there all the way back in 18th. And so looks like Logan Pugh able to get away kind of mostly unharmed for their track, but still a lot of beats and bangs on that number 01 Ford Mustang. So we'll be under caution for the first time at lap number 1 of 75. Quentin Haley, your leader. A great move, though, Keelan, by the 13. Looked like the 02 might have had control going into the first two corners. But Quentin Haley was not phased by the opening jump whatsoever. Was able to go to the outside. I think he took the lead away and took it very convincingly as Patterson was going to try and strike back before the yellow.
Yeah, and I was surprised off the initial jump that Josh Patterson decided not to take the top. I think he had the option for it, because we saw it in every heat and the consolation that those guys jumped up to the top and they had the opportunity. I was surprised Patterson didn't do it. Quentin Haley showed us why it worked right there, as he's now going to be in the lead coming to the restart here on lap number 5.
So with the fact that we did have a caution in the opening 5 laps of the stint, we'll get a single file restart here. So lights are off on the iRacing official pace truck. It'll make the left to pit road, and Quentin Haley will be your leader without a challenge from Patterson either on the inside or the outside. Green flag back in the air here in the Ironman Nationals from Volusia Speedway Park. Quentin Haley with a great jump into 1 and 2. Looks a lot cleaner here as not many drivers separate, or at least not many drivers clustered together going back to complete the lap.
It is Quentin Haley out front, but a little bit further back you see Conor Herrilla, who came out of the consolation and had some work to do tonight, already making up time to the bottom of the racetrack. He goes 3 wide here with Ryan Martin and Mason Sweet as he slides up. There you see Josh Patterson. He had trouble a little bit further up. He slips way back as now Brayson Collins trying to make a move on Quentin Haley for the race lead. This
is what we were looking for. Brayson Collins has a lot of confidence on these dirt tracks, and he said before the season started, he said, watch for Volusia. That's where I'm going to be strong, and that's probably where I'm going to win. And now Collins lurking in a second, trying to catch up to the 13 of Haley. Meanwhile, Jay Mulder, the Canadian, underneath Josh Patterson, he's going to be able to officially clear the 2 linemate cars nose to tail. Collins, though, is still trying to put it on to the 13.
Yeah, you said it pre-race, Kenneth. There were some guys who had this circled as really one of their few opportunities to get a win, and that could be the epitome of Brayson Collins tonight. As remember, you said a lot of confidence at this racetrack with the setup that they put together. Started in 8th and has already crawled his way to the 2nd position, trying to reel down Quentin Haley now as they start to stack up 2 by 2 a little bit further back.
As an onboard look at Conor Herrilla as Austin Doran gets way sideways just in front of them, as Logan Pugh also just behind him had a bit of trouble in the first 2 corners. Doran going to strike the outside wall hard near the guardrail, and so he'll fall off. Looks like Hunter Collier will officially take that position over. Meanwhile, Mason Sweet to the inside for what is P6 on the racetrack. That's Ryan Martin letting it by.
And there you see Josh Patterson in the O2 machine. Or sorry, that's Mason Sweet in the 56 getting around Ryan Martin, I'm sorry, as Brayson Collins has slipped a little bit further back off of Quentin Haley, trying to reel him in, but it is Haley pulling away now with the race lead, kind of working a racetrack the way he wants to. He's got it down right now, making that car sling to the left going into the corners, and he's turning right for, again, 90% of the lap. It's crazy what these guys do when they come out and they flex their muscles here on the dirt. You know they're for real, because this is probably the hardest track they'll drive all season for the average Joe.
Yeah, for sure the hardest combo, and especially given the fact that we don't usually race these cars at this venue, makes it a lot harder. And of course, the setup was built for this very track not too long ago, pretty much a week prior to the race. And one thing that was noted about that setup, it was built by Justin Haley, who, by the way, has the same last name as Quentin Haley, both of them related to each other. So maybe not a surprise that Quentin Haley, with the setup made by his brother, doing very well here in the opening jump of lap 13, now coming to lap 14 of 75. And so top 3 kind of all clustered together. Looks like Josh Patterson starting to cling in, so maybe the opening lap fall off is not as bad here once you start to get laps in. That's Frederick Seagraves, by the way, up the road. He's going to be really one of the first cars to go a lap down here.
As the top 3 all under a blanket now, trying to reel in Frederick Seagraves as the caution is out for the 2nd time this evening. Trying to get a look at what happened here to cause the yellow flag right when it was starting to get good up there with the top 3. Trying to look and see what happened.
Well, if it started there, it was Austin Doran, Keelan, and Shane DiMantova that got into contact.
Yeah, DiMantova right there in the 20 machine was trying to make up some ground. He was in between Gene Wolfe and Logan Pugh, who were involved in the earlier caution tonight. See, DiMantova got really slowed up there into the corner, and then right here in turns 1 and 2, made contact with Doran. Car slides, does a good job not getting too much damage. That little slide is what will cause the caution flag.
And by the way, he almost got hit by the pace truck as it was on the way, just went face to face with it. As the caution wave, there's the pace truck, and that's close. I mean, we've seen in real life drivers hit either an ambulance or hit a safety truck. Fortunately, in iRacing, you can go straight through it, so there's no problem there. But if that was real life, I don't think DiMantova would have had a front clip on that Toyota Supra. And in turn, DiMantova, with that spin, he'll fall back to 17, just in front of Frederick Seagraves, who was really the only driver behind him. So our first taste of solid green flag action, I think, already shows us, Keelan, who the favorites might be for this event. Quentin Haley, as quick as he is, cannot fend off Brayson Collins, and Brayson Collins overrun. He can't fend off Josh Patterson. So I figure top three, pretty much the strongest so far in the opening segment.
Yes, they certainly are so far as they try and negotiate who will be out front. Quentin Haley right now, probably the fastest out of the bunch right now, but Collins not let him get too far out, and they were stacking up right before the caution came out. So we'll see what happens here. Quentin Haley elects to take the outside lane. He'll lead us to the green. Quentin Haley to his inside as they come to the green. Or that's right, Brayson Collins is inside as the green flag's in the air. Quentin Haley, it's a nice jump in that 13 car on the top.
Bit of contact there for first as they were going to the green flag. Collins made a slight hit there on the 13. That allows Jay Mulder now to take over second. So as soon as you brought the field together under that yellow, despite the fact that the top three in Haley, Collins, and Patterson have been the fastest, it allows drivers like Jay Mulder, like Mason Sweet, and like many others to pierce their name into the battle. Collins with a slide job there in turn two. A couple of cars going way sideways there as Patterson looks underneath for third.
Patterson to the inside of the other limeade car and Jay Mulder, and might kill two birds with one stone as he tries to look under Brayson Collins. Won't be able to do that quite yet, but he will take over to third position from Jay Mulder. Now he's trying to reel in the 5 of Brayson Collins, who's up on the top, side by side for the second position.
And Patterson working all the way to the inside. Collins looking to go a little bit higher on the track. We talked about the slick stuff earlier on tonight. That is the darker shade of brown this time by. As you see it there on your screen, the lighter shades of brown is probably where you want to be, especially up on the top side where the cushion starts to build up. Really want to be there over the course of the race as it all slickens up underneath. And it looks like the 0-2, despite the fact that he's in the slick stuff, he is still somewhat finding grip there. I think it may be the left front here that he's getting on the lighter brown stuff right next to the wall. So as the 0-2 tagged it just a bit, he's got a lot of speed down there. One of really the only drivers to try that method.
Yeah, the rear tires in the slick. If you get on them too hard, those rear tires will spin too much. As caution out again here for the third time this evening as it's Logan Pugh in the 0-1. But like I was saying, Josh Patterson getting down there, taking a shorter lane around the racetrack, really getting speed through the corners on the bottom. Started to move up right when the caution comes out. Caution out again here from Volusia.
So we'll try to take a look, see exactly what happened. This is Logan Pugh, middle 3 wide, or really middle 4 wide, as you would say. Timmy Spatz, Gene Wolfe, Austin Dornum on the cars there. And yeah, it looks like just a simple case of getting loose out of turn 4. And Hunter Collier cannot do really anything to avoid it. Just got loose, loses all the time. Hunter Collier is trying to get his reaction times as short as possible, but here at dirt, you can't really hit the brakes or else the car will really slide all over the area. And so you see here on board from Pugh, just got stuck in a compromising spot, had to check up Dearly, and then here came Collier, there came Pugh, getting it way loose there, hanging the rear end out. And then it's just a disaster plan right there as the 0-1 goes hard into the inside wall. Not sure whether that is officially the night over for Pugh. Believe he'll be able to continue, although that is going to be some extensive damage repair in a league, by the way, Keelan, with no fast repairs.
Yeah, and seems like we mention it every week, that fast repair. It's just when you don't have it, you never realize how good you had it when you had it. So some other races where you would get that, you might race with a little bit less regard, be a little bit more aggressive, and fortunately for them, this is not the case. You can't do that here. There's no fast repairs. You get wrecked, you're wrecked, and it just makes winning these races so much harder trying to keep that race car clean.
So Logan Pugh, I believe he will stay out on the racetrack with the damage, and he'll be in 17th. Looks like Shane DiMantova is the first DNF here tonight, and we saw his incident a little bit earlier in the race. And so the 20 of DiMantova has pulled it behind the garage. His night is over from the virtual Volusia Speedway Park. Unfortunate for the 20 Supra, who was making, I believe, one of his first starts in this series in a while. As the pace truck will make its way down, Quentin Haley, your race leader. He'll give a slight hip check there to Collins. They're 3 wide already for the lead in turn 1. Patterson backed out as soon as he saw it happen. Jay Mulder is going to get a look to the outside here. They're door to door for the lead. Collins trying to get Haley here into turn 3.
Collins slide job in turn 3, give him the spot, but Haley gonna try and cross him back over at the line this time, bracing Collins with the nose out in front, but Quentin Haley makes a move and he washes up right in front of Collins and slows him down. Quentin Haley takes the race lead away as they are all jumbled up back here a little bit further back. A lot of limeade cars in that mix, and then Ryan Martin right behind them.
You are not seeing double. That is 3 limeade media cars in the same area on the racetrack. Patterson in the Supra, Mulder in the black and green car, and the white and green car to the 56 of Mason Sweet. All 3 of them were almost 3-4 wide. Coming out of turn 2, may almost be 3 here once again as they'll try to split Brayson Collins, who fell out of touch for the race lead. Josh Patterson makes the slide job. Again, the inside goes Collins. 3 wide for second as Haley tries to pull away.
And Collins gonna take the second spot back, but Josh Patterson gonna rival him on the bottom and give the 0-2 the second position, the guy who won the first heat and took the pole award this evening, trying to run down Quentin Haley on board with the 56 of Mason Sweet, who's got Jay Mulder out in front and Brayson Collins side by side. Oh, and Frederick Seagraves really slow in front of everybody, slowed them all up, as that might separate them out a little bit, but Seagraves, don't know what happened to him, but he was really slow right in front of everybody.
Seagraves goes 1 lap down and he got split just in the middle of the field, so that got real treacherous there by many of the lead lap cars. It looks like the 95 is found the very outside, so he'll let a majority of the field by. It's not going to help his case to get over the top 14 cushion that he needs to break through. That ceiling, 7-point gap between himself and Conor Herrilla as we continue to watch the battle for second. Patterson, another entrance into the slide job in 3 and 4. Collins will come back out, and these two racing heavily here at Volusia. They're allowing Haley to put away. This is great stuff to watch.
Yeah, Collins tried to cross him over back there, but he got into the gas too aggressive. Rear tire spun in the slick, and it sent his car a little bit sideways and slowed down his progress as they now all start to get on the top of the racetrack, follow each other around. There is Patterson in the second position, who's had a common theme with that this season, a couple top 5s to his credit, yet not a win to this point yet, as Gene Wolfe in the 800 seeing those green, white, and black cars in front of him, trying to make a move on them, trying to get his way into the top 5 tonight.
And Gene Wolfe was involved in an incident earlier in this race, so talk about the comeback here for the 800 with heavy front end and rear end damage. He has no rear clip as a caution comes out once again, and it appears may have been, I believe, DJ Powell that could have been involved in this. We'll try and see as you see him there with Logan Pugh. He was 11th at the time of caution, so we'll try and find out whether Powell was the actual victim here, whether somebody else might have gone sideways and could have sent somebody into either an outside wall or something else. So take a look, see exactly what might have happened. These are the leaders right here. This is around Conor Herrilla. Maybe this could tell us a story. This is the 20 and the 85. It looks like no problems were there. Actually, it was right here. Austin Dorn in the 55, last week's winner at Indianapolis, in trouble. I'm not sure whether this was a single car or by himself. That was Frederick Seagraves spinning in front of him.
Seagraves, not a night to remember, that's for sure. As he was off the wall right in front of that, bounced down, and then came out in front of Boron. Nowhere for him to really go except the wall, and then Shane Powell, nowhere to go.
See there, Seagraves up on the outside wall. We mentioned him letting a majority of the traffic by. He's had a struggle tonight. He has pulled it officially behind the garage, so it looks like Seagraves' night is officially over here tonight from the virtual Volusia Speedway Park. And we are not going to be able to see the number 95 back in action until next week at Darlington. So they may have done it there, Keelan, in terms of the point standings. It was 7 points between those two. Conor Herrilla right now not having the greatest race, but he's still in it in P14. Seagraves in 17th, and of course, that's not going to be enough to overcome the gap that Seagraves needed to get over in this race. So we'll get the 1 to green signal. It looks like Seagraves will be out of the playoffs, and Conor Herrilla will be the last one in.
Inching closer to halfway here, though. It's been Quentin Haley in control for majority of this race as the guys second on back keep battling with each other. Maybe this will be an opportunity for a Josh Patterson, maybe a Mason Sweet, or a Brayson Collins to get into the second. Try to stick with Quentin Haley, pull away from the guys behind him as Haley will be leading us back to the green on the outside. Josh Patterson to his inside. Green flag back in the air from Volusia County.
Green flag in the air, lap 38 on the way of 75. Here's Mason Sweet all the way to the very top. He's not going to be able to make it 3 for the lead. He'll make contact with Collins coming out at 2. Collins will bobble just a tad, and that'll allow Jay Mulder to get back in the fight. Now Josh Patterson tries to put it up here with the 13. A big slide job in 3 and 4. Opens the door for Mason Sweet, but a new race leader, Josh Patterson, for a moment in turn 1.
And Quentin Haley got to the bottom trying to get his spot back, but he couldn't get it that time. Gonna stick with him pretty even as Patterson right on the cushion took the top spot away, nearly took the nose off the 13, just barely taking that top spot away as the caution comes out. Logan Pugh in trouble on the 0-1. This is almost the, third time we've seen him in trouble. Another not a very nice night for the 0-1.
And this is coming out of turn 2. That's as simple as it gets. That's, I believe, the second time, Keelan, that the 0-1 makes contact with the 98 of Hunter Collier, where they both meet on the track. This time, Logan just slides up, Hunter slides down. And there's not much you can do there. I don't think it's really at the fault of anybody. They're just trying to race each other. Pugh was on the very bottom, trying to find grip. Remember, he's trying to get as much accelerator as he can off of the corner. That was a battle between Hunter Collier and Gino Mero that you're seeing in front of your screen on the bottom. And then as soon as Logan Pugh comes out the corner, Hunter tries to cross over on Mero and just could not see the 0-1 so far down the track. And Pugh, unfortunately, gets the worst end of it. It's been a very tough night for the 0-1, and he's going to be in a tough spot as he's now back in 16th. He's still going to continue on, though, with the amount of damage that he's suffered. So I guess a soldiering effort here, Keelan Belsha, on behalf of the 0-1 tonight.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's the third time we've seen that 0-1 looped around. One of those times was up into the inside wall. But out front, Josh Patterson, who nearly wrecked his car in the process by almost taking the nose off the 13, took the race lead away, and now it's the 0-2 of Josh Patterson. Going to lead us to the green. Quentin Haley in the 13 going to take the outside, so Patterson elects the inside. Interesting.
So Patterson will try and switch it up on the bottom. 13 of Quentin Haley will be on the outside. But just before we go green, we'll remind you that coverage of the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series from Volusia is brought to you by Dynamo Designs, your one-stop shop for all of your iRacing design needs. They can cater to any style you like and can ensure you will look good on track, all starting at just $5 per scheme. Message Josh Patterson on Discord at Josh Patterson, #9212, or on Facebook at JP Designs to get him working on your iRacing design today. Fitting Josh Patterson in the race lead, but Quentin Haley gets in a Brayson Collins, and they both collect. That is immediately a caution, the big one at Volusia. And it seemed as though practically everybody, about 75% of the field, got a hit in that one. And as they were going back to green, one bobble, one bit of contact, and it sent everybody into mayhem.
A lot and a lot of good race cars taken out in that one, as we will try to get a replay here and guys to see what happened here, as we're going to get a look from the restart here. Quentin Haley in second, Brayson Collins in third. Haley does not get a good start. He ends up turning the 5 right into Mason Sweet in 56. Gene Wolfe involved, Ryan Martin, Gino Mero, DJ Powell, Logan Pugh, Hunter Collier. A lot of good race cars taken out in this one, as right on board with Collins to see what happened and what else could he have done here.
I don't think there was much you could do there. As soon as the contact was made, they couldn't get off each other, and Haley just turns him around, slams into Mason Sweet, who was also having a great race tonight. Gino Mero gets his front clip completely torn off. We mentioned Logan Pugh, who was involved in the incident earlier before this yellow. He also picks up damage, so that takes out, or at least damages, a bunch of very great race cars, especially very fast ones up at the front of the field. And I believe in part of that, Quentin Haley will fall all the way back to 11th. I think he was given an end of line penalty. So the 13 car, who was at once in control of this race, will now have to work from the rear, coming to 25 laps to go.
Completely turns this race on its lid now. He's got 30 laps to make up some time, so it's definitely not impossible, but I just don't know if this thing, he needs it to go green, and then once he gets into about the top 3, that's when he would want his yellow. So,
Oh, wow. Bless you.
yeah, we'll see here as it's Josh Patterson and Jay Mulder, limeade duo, bringing us the green flag.
Green flag, lap 47 of 75. Josh Patterson, along with the other limeade media car and Jay Mulder, going to lead us to green. A cleaner start this time by. Not as many drivers packed in as the one before. And of course, with that restart just happening within 5 laps of the start, or at least the last run, it puts everybody in a situation where they go single file, and the only battle we see on track is really 4th on back. That's Timmy Spatz here alongside Ryan Martin. That is a battle for 3rd. First time, actually, Keelan, we see Spatz in contention for the top 3, although that's not really going to help there. Tried the slide job on Martin, but just did not work.
A lot of modified-looking race cars out here as Mason Sweet tries to make a move for that 4th position. He'll take that spot away. There you look at the top 2, probably the only 2 clean cars we got left in this one, as it's Josh Patterson out in front, Jay Mulder trying to reel him down. Coming to 26 laps to go this next time by. Battle for 3rd heating up with Ryan Martin and Mason Sweet, but the caution out again.
And it looks like Logan Pugh may have been involved in it all over again. So Pugh just continuing to have a rough night here from Volusia. And as he fell back dramatically, I believe he was around the mid-pack, and as he was very slow coming out of the corner, I believe turn 2 may have been the trouble spot for the 01 Ford Mustang. We'll take a look. This is around Hunter Collier, but also around Brayson Collins. Tags in the 98, but just, I think, puts a little bit too much on the rear tires there. Keelan puts too much gas, and we mentioned just how slick this part of the track is, especially now that you've put a lot of laps in it already. And we're just trying to put as much throttle as you can. The car steps out. There's really no downforce on these Xfinity Series machines, so any bit of slippage there on the rear end will cause a spin, and for Pugh, it's exactly what happened.
Not a very fun night for that 01 car. He's been root of a lot of unfortunate occurrences this evening, but somehow he's still on the lead lap as we've only had 2 guys pull it over and call it a night. He's keeping it going, trying to stay strong, and Pugh, remember, he came into this 12th in points, so he should be pretty secure by the end of things. Maybe that's why he's keeping going, trying to get as many points as he can just to make sure he's safe.
And of course, we talk about the point standings, and Logan Pugh, I figure by just staying in this race alone, it gives him a solid shot to just keep his defense there in the top 14, especially since Frederick Seagraves is not in this race anymore, and he has pulled it behind the garage. By the way, Pierce in YouTube chat to answer your question, that is Keelan Belshaw. He's joining us, I believe, for the rest of the season in the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. Had a great stint with the QuickTime iRacing League. That season came to a close, crowned the champion, so now he's get to join us here in the KBueno booth for all the action here on the WORC side of things. And instead of just hearing my voice on the broadcast each and every week, you get to hear both of ours, the 2 KBs in the booth, along for the rest of the campaign and for the rest of tonight's event. Still around 23 laps to go from Volusia. A bit of time left, but as the laps wind down quickly here, time also may be running out. Josh Patterson gets a quick jump on the restart. An immediate move to 2nd by Jay Mulder, but Mason Sweet trying to make it a limeade 1-2-3, or really a 1-2. If Sweet can get to 2nd, Austin Doran trying to peek in for 4th.
Doran, a winner of 2 of the last 3 races in the 55, now asserting himself up in the top 5, but it'll be Brayson Collins now. He himself making up time in that 5 machine to the bottom, trying to make his way into the top 5. He's now in 4th. Now he's going to try and break up that little limeade triple up in front of him, but the caution is out.
Caution out once again. And Austin Doran had fallen significantly to 13th. Maybe he could have been the cause of this incident as we approach 20 laps to go from Volusia Speedway Park. We'll take a look at the replay. Austin Doran was within the top 5. And indeed it was that double 5 of Austin Doran, who is a 2-time winner this season. May not be a 3-time winner if he does not recover from this right here. Was getting pretty much freight trained all the way on the inside. Found his way underneath Ryan Martin, but I think right there did it for him, Keelan. The slight contact with Conor Herrilla just slightly tapped the rear bumper, and that was enough to send him around. And I mean, when you're on the dirt, you don't have as much grip as you would on the general asphalt. I mean, from right there, it doesn't look like Herrilla made contact. It just got rather close, and Austin Doran, quite frankly, lost the car going into 1 and 2.
Yeah, it might have been a combination of him accelerating too fast, spinning that car around, and maybe a bit of contact with Herrilla in the 20 machine. Just one of those incidents you can't really control there. It's fortunate for him, but he'll try to recover as it's a Limeade Media 1, 2, 3. It's been a nice day for all of them. Limeade Media 1, 2, 3. It's been a nice day for all of them.
Yeah, I think if you're the Limeade Media owner, if you're their sponsor, I figure you're very happy seeing the green, black, and white cars up at the front of the field, especially knowing that all three of these guys definitely do have a shot at the win. We have never seen, though, we haven't seen Patterson, Mulder, or Mason Sweet get to victory lane this season. So we have really yet to see any Limeade success apart from maybe top threes along the way. And of course, a Limeade triple victory on behalf of Jay Mulder was able to complete that at Irwindale on the West Coast a couple of weeks back. But in terms of race victories here in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series campaign, and none of them have been to victory lane just yet. So maybe tonight could be the change in the tide. And there's also many potential first-time winners on the way that could potentially strike in here. You think of Brayson Collins looking for his first win, Timmy Spatz, Ryan Martin, handful of others looking for a checkered flag tonight. Green flag back in the air. Now under 20 laps to go from the virtual Volusia Speedway Park. Here comes Patterson to clear the field off turn 2. Now Mulder and Collins side by side for second. And it looked like at one point, Keelan, Collins was out of the fight. He's back in it under 20 laps to go.
Collins, who went around off the bumper of the 13 a little bit earlier in the night, is now back in the mix as he's in the second position, now trying to run down the 0-2 of Josh Patterson, but Jay Mulder not letting him get too far out in front, trying to help his teammate out by holding Collins up, giving Patterson some time to scoot away, but Collins now trying to get around Mulder, gonna clear him, and now he sets his sights on the 0-2 as they bump and bang off each other a little bit further back.
They were 3 wide there coming out of turn 4. And Mason Sweet, Jay Mulder falling back. Timmy Spatz also trying to get in this and also bring in Gene Wolf in the 800. So this is far from over. Spatz will fall out. Gene Wolf will fall into position just in front. 51 and 56 make slight contact. Patterson pulling away. More contact between Mulder and Sweet going into turn 1.
Can't rough each other up too much. You both got good runs going, but they put each other in the fence, and that'll take Sweet possibly out of contention for this race, but never say never as Gene Wolf has crawled from the back to the front for now 2 times today into the 3rd position as the caution is out again. A little bit further back, it's Austin Doran in the 55.
Doran involved. There's a bit of smoke there from the back end of the car, but a rear clip, no doubt, torn out of the Chevrolet Camaro this time. And Doran once again finds himself in a bit of peril here on lap 62 of 75, still inching closer to the end of this race. We'll try to find out what may have happened, and I think that tells the story. GJ Powell and the 55 got into contact, and as they were both side by side, they almost about made contact, and I think here, Keelan 68 just gets loose, loses the car, and then nothing that Doran could do, just gets slammed, and he's a passenger from there.
Yep, not a great night for Doran. Let's get another look here to see what happened from his rear bumper. Just goes around so fast with the 68 and 55.
So Doran will fall back to 14th. Also to mention, Logan Pugh, we mentioned his soldiering effort to stay in this race despite heavy front end and rear end damage all around. He has officially pulled to behind the garage. He is 9 laps down and counting on the racetrack's P16, just in front of Seagraves and Demantova, who also called it quits earlier in tonight's event. So unfortunately, Pugh will not be able to bring his Ford Mustang to the checkered flag tonight. Although a solid effort from the 01, did not really have as much luck to start. But the 01 will have to look for next week and the start of the playoffs at Darlington, where he will be one of the 14 competing for the championship. So I think that is good news. Despite a clouded race tonight from Volusia County, he will be able to muster P12 there on the boards. Maybe fall back just a little bit, but he should not, given the circumstance that he's in front of Frederick Seagraves, fall out of the top 14. So doesn't matter what rank he is, I believe, even if he does get passed by the likes of Ryan Martin and such, he will be okay for the rest of the season onto the playoffs in that round of 14. Pace truck, though, makes its way down a pit road. 11 laps to go from Volusia County. We'll try to see if we can finish this race under green. Collins now under heavy fire from Gene Wolf and Jay Mulder. 3 wide out of turn 2.
After the second position, a little bit further back, coming to 10 to go this time. Gene Wolf on the bottom, Collins in the middle, as now he slides up in front of Jay Mulder in the 51, move Collins into that position, but Gene Wolf gets around both of them. He takes second away, And now he's trying to run down the 0-2 of Josh Patterson, but Collins sticking with Wolf for now. Coming to 9 to go this time. Patterson remains out front, but Wolf is making a move.
Wolf is trying to catch up. Last time by was a little bit slower. We'll see how the times fare as they cross the start-finish line. And that time by almost a 2/10 pickup for Gene Wolf. So all of a sudden, that 800 has picked up speed out of nowhere, and he is starting to reel in the Limeade Media Toyota Supra. And that's been the concern, Keelan. If you're a part of the second half of this race up at the front, you want to beat everybody else, but you need to get over Patterson first, because as soon as you can get in front of Patterson, chances are he gets drowned into the mix for second on back, and then you can make it a fair fight between multiple cars in the field. But if you can't get by him, if you can't try to get around this 0-2, Patterson is going to continue to pull away while you do the dirty work, and he'll be able to run away with a win this time. About 7 laps to go left.
And that seemed to be the theme in the heats and at the beginning of this feature, and really throughout all the night. Whoever's out front has that clean air, which how much clean air can you get on dirt? But regardless, you can get out front, and everybody else, they kind of get obsessed with trying to run you down, that they'll kind of slow themselves down. But Gene Wolf, he's been the one exception. He's the first guy we've seen be able to pull away from the guys behind him and reel in the race leader, as he's the top two, both working the bottom of the racetrack. Gene Wolf kind of evening out with the 0-2, as the track fall off as far as lap time has been very minimal tonight. Josh Patterson out front. Gene Wolf, though, not letting them get out too far. 5 laps to go from Volusia.
And there was an adaptation there out of the 0-2, because at first you saw him running the very top, but as soon as he found momentum in the middle, Gene Wolf did. Patterson decided to block down low, but the caution comes out. And what this will do is put us in a very precarious situation for a potential green-white checker. That's Gene O'Meara and Austin Doran, who seem to be the two involved this time around. Two of them previous winners in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series season. Merrill winning at Las Vegas, Doran winning at Urbandale and Indianapolis. And so both of them got collected together. Of course, this is not their forte. It doesn't look like Keelan Belsha. And then going into what looked to be 3 and 4, and they both had a lot of trouble, as Doran might have been the first one to get into him. Yep, there it is.
Yep, both go around right there. Not a great night for both of them. We saw Marrow in a big pile up, and now Doran going around for the second or third time tonight. That 55 has not had a lot of success tonight, so it's been an unfortunate night for a lot of guys, but it's been a fortunate night for one guy, that being the 0-2 of Josh Patterson, coming to what should be first attempt at green-white checker.
He's going to have to look in his rearview mirror, though, because Gene Wolf had picked up the pace significantly over the past run. And while Jay Mulder and Brayson Collins were kind of fighting against each other, it left the opportunity open for Gene Wolf to try and catch the race leader. And I was just mentioning before the caution that Patterson was changing his line. It looked like he was trying to put Gene Wolf in some dirty air, maybe put him in some turbulence, and just block the lane, not let Gene Wolf get as much of an advantage as Patterson previously was running the very top, Wolf running the very bottom, or really the middle bottom on the racetrack. So the change may be necessary on Patterson if he wants to hold on to this win, with a Gene Wolf driver catching up very quickly. We got a restart here with officially 2 laps to go from the Volusia Speedway Park. Patterson, of course, your race leader, looking if he can hold it on for a couple laps more. Gene Wolf trying to steal it all the way in the final laps. Jay Mulder in third, Brayson Collins on the outside of row number 2 and 4th. Quentin Haley, by the way, we haven't talked about him much tonight after his crash. He's in the top 5 now with Ryan Martin to his outside. It is Timmy Spatz, Mason Sweet, Conor, Herrilla, and Shane Fuller, final drivers in the top 10. Pace truck makes its way down. Could this be the last restart? We'll find out. A great jump this time into turn 1 for Josh Patterson.
A first of 2 green-white checkered attempts from Volusia as they make contact back there. Collins in trouble, and they keep it green so far. It's Josh Patterson out front. Gene Wolf trying to run him down, coming to the white flag.
Patterson looking to hold it on. 1 more lap to go from the virtual Volusia Speedway Park. Can the 0-2 and Limeade Media get their first win in this 2022 season? Here comes Wolf to the very inside. Final charge in 3 and 4. Wolf is going to try all that he can. He'll move him. He'll touch him coming out of the corner, but it will not be successful. Josh Patterson wins from Volusia.
Now, what a race and what a finish. Gene Wolf throwing everything he had, the whole deck of cards at Josh Patterson. Moved him, but couldn't quite get around him coming to the checkered flag, and it'll be Josh Patterson winning at Volusia, winning the regular season finale, getting his first win of the season. What a place to get it right at the tail end of the regular season. Getting a win, getting some momentum on your side as you try to go for a championship.
A lot of momentum for Josh Patterson as he burns it down, and I think he'll try to find victory lane here. There is, I believe you can enter victory lane here, if I'm not mistaken, Keelan, on pit road. So maybe we'll see the O2 enter at some point. There's Gino Mero and TJ Lear. A great race they put up to at least get to the finish. But Josh Patterson, your winner. And yesterday, looked at him as he was part of one of the NIS Daytona 500 splits, was leading the race in the final segment. I don't believe he was able to get to victory lane in the final restart. But still a lot of momentum out of the World Center of Racing, and no doubt a lot of momentum here at a track not too far away from the Daytona International Speedway. Josh Patterson, your winner here tonight at the lone dirt track event of the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series season. We'll take a look at your full race results, see exactly where everybody finished at the end of 75 grueling laps under the sunset into the darkness. Josh Patterson, the winner for the very first time here in this season, finally able to call himself a checkered flag holder here from Volusia. Gene Wolfe, though, fantastic run to the finish. Looked like Wolfe might have been out of it in the final half of the event, but struck back, was able to have a last charge at Patterson, was not successful, but Wolfe, great second place finish for him. Quentin Haley was able to man himself back to third, so although he had been in fifth, kind of meandering around the mid portion of the field after his incident, great podium finish for the number 13. J Mulder, the Canadian, won the P4. Mason Sweeten, the fellow lineman car, he'll be back in fifth. Conor Herrilla, this should keep him within the top 14 comfortably over Frederick Seagraves, a capitalizing effort to finish sixth. Timmy Spatz will come home in P7. Ryan Martin will be eighth. Shane Fuller will be ninth. And TJ Lear rounds out the top 10. A great run for the 960 at the end.
In the 11th position, you have Gino Mero in a 71, whom we saw in some pile-ups and some yellows this evening. DJ Powell, also a similar description for that guy in a 68. Brayson Collins, who had a great run, ran top 5 majority of the night in that last restart, got hit from behind, sent up the racetrack, and it really ruined his whole night with 13th place finish. Austin Doron, who had a lot of momentum coming into tonight, in 14th. Hunter Collier finishes in the 15th position. Logan Pugh, who got spun several times tonight, in 16th. Frederick Seagraves, another guy who did not have a great night, finishes in 17th. And then Shane DiMantola and Connor Trafari round out the field.
So as we close in on obviously what will be the celebration continuing here for the O2 of Josh Patterson, we'll make our way down. We'll find our way to victory lane, and we'll talk with the driver of the O2, the winner here tonight from the dirt track, Josh Patterson in the O2 Toyota Supra. We'll head to victory lane. Josh Patterson, a first-time winner in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series season. It looks like from the drop of the green in qualifying, from practice, from the heat races, all up until the main feature, you had speed all throughout it. You had dominating speed as well. Walk us through that final restart of the final run all the way to the finish and how you were able to do it for your first W.
I don't even know. I was more worried about the other people in my call, because Brayson was mad at a bunch of people, so I was just hearing yelling and stuff. I was kind of just trying to focus on my race. Gene was close to me at the end there, so I knew he was a concern. I didn't think he was going to be as fast as he was at the end, because he really wasn't up front all race. It felt like there was 3-4 of us who kind of dominated that. And so he appeared out of nowhere. I was like, okay, it should be good. I should have it won with speed. Then I realized he was around the bottom. He's catching me, so I decided to go down there. I almost boofed it on the final corner, but held it on the top. I was lucky that there was enough tack up there to help me get through the corner. But yeah, no, really happy to win this one. I think this is probably one of the better shots to get a win this season, so glad I could do it. Glad I could get myself into the playoffs with that. I'm not sure if I'm the regular season champion. I might be, but it might be close. I'm not too sure. So yeah, really, really happy. Yeah, excited about this.
And we mentioned at the top of the show, at least Keelan and I talked about it, that this race either was circled because drivers thought they could win here, or drivers thought they could avoid it as best as possible. But for you, it seemed like you took the challenge on with full force. And there was at least distinctions in this race overall. You looked at the first segment where kind of looked like Quentin Haley, Brayson Collins were going to be the class of the field. You were kind of hanging around. And then came the middle part of the race where you were now around Quentin Haley. Brayson Collins was still there, but you guys are trading more positions every throughout. And then came the final stint where you were in control of the lead. Were there any distinct differences, at least on your end, mentally as a driver throughout each of those, being third, being second, and then, of course, ending up as the race leader, controlling the pace at the end?
Honestly, it's going to sound a bit cocky, but I felt like I was the fastest car all race. I got put behind Q at the start because he kind of doored me on the initial start, and I just got stuck behind him. So I felt like, every restart I was kind of getting screwed over a little bit, just being on the bottom because, nobody really wanted to be down there. But, most of the race I was just focused on keeping the car clean and working through the traffic and the other cars as best as I could because I felt like, there were a lot of moves being thrown, so I just didn't want to get caught up in anything and get shuffled back because I knew the essentially what was behind me was just carnage of people dooring each other and wrecking. So I just wanted to make sure I could stay out of that. Ended up working through the field and coming up front. So I really enjoyed racing around everybody, but it was definitely a lot of fun working back up past Q and Brayson.
So the first time we get to a dirt track here in this season, you're the driver who takes the checkered flag away. Of course, a lot of momentum now going into the playoffs. Darlington, a very different track. It's obviously asphalt, so we're not visiting dirt once again for this entire season. But it is a driver's track, one that is very difficult across NASCAR's calendar. So for you, what's going to be the motive there moving into the playoffs?
I feel like I'm strong at Darlington too, but obviously I do have a couple weaknesses on asphalt compared to dirt. I feel like I'm a better dirt driver in general. I feel like we're pretty good at Darlington, but who knows if I'm going to be able to run up front like I did today. I'm just going to, aim for that top 10, top 5, like I said last week, and, just push forward to try to advance through the rounds in the playoffs.
Looking to keep momentum, no doubt, going into the round of 14. Josh, before we let you go on this celebratory effort and this win from Volusia Speedway Park, anybody you want to thank for making this all possible?
I got to thank Limeade Media for being the primary sponsor on the car today. I got to thank everybody at Dynamo Racing, powered by Limeade Media, and Dynamo Designs. 704 Sports Update, Patriot Clutches, Vulture Racing Engines, Belfour Property Restorations, EVC Automotive, the Keystone Corner, and everybody who comes and supports me through these races. I got to thank you guys for broadcasting tonight and every week, and the amazing broadcasts you put on. I'm always amazed when I come back and watch them after the races. And I got to thank Brayson for running the league. And everybody for coming out tonight on the dirt and giving me a great race.
Well, we certainly appreciate the kind words, Josh. Want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. And, of course, on behalf of our team here, I want to congratulate you on your very first win here in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series season. I think it's good. Your main sponsor, Dynamo Designs, the one you created, it gets to victory lane with a Limeade Media car here from Volusia. Congratulations. We'll hope to see you at Darlington for the playoffs.
Thanks a lot, Kenneth. See you there.
Josh Patterson, high spirits coming out of Volusia Speedway Park. He is your winner here tonight at the end of 75, 76 laps completed, so maybe an extra one put in there. We'll head over to P2, a charging effort near the end for the driver of the 800, Gene Wolf. He's caught up trackside with our very own Keelan Belsha.
Well, Gene, you had a good run, ended up winning your heat, and then in the feature, you started up front pretty much immediately, sank back to the back, made up some ground, and you got stuck in the back again, and then you ended up clawing your way to a second place finish. Take us through your night real quick, if you will. I mean, it was just up and down roller coaster. It ended up finishing on a high point.
Yeah, it was a fun race. A lot of craziness going on. Won the heat race, went up there, started third, got into the back of somebody who didn't really drive it into the corner, went to the back, drove it back through the field, went to the back again after getting wrapped up in somebody else's caution, and so drove it back. Had a meatball from the entire race basically, and drove it all the way back through the field again, and was hoping we were going to have enough laps there to try to steal this thing, but it was fun overall.
Yeah, you were right there at the tail end of this race. Josh Patterson was right in front of you. You go to make a move to get around him, you give him a bit of a bump. But what would you have done differently looking back? Is there anything you could have done differently to try and beat out that 0-2? You guys are pretty even on speed towards the tail end. Would you have switched anything up to try and get him? You were right there at the end, just couldn't get around him in that final corner.
I would have probably not gone to the back twice, but other than that, no, not really. I mean, it was whoever had the bottom. I ran the bottom majority of the race, and that's where I made all my passes coming through the field. But once he started moving down there, I knew I was going to have to get a nose on the inside of him or give him a bump into the corner and push him up. But I didn't really want to steal it that way. I'd rather drove it around him. But other than that, I mean, there's not a whole lot I could have done in that scenario there. My car was pretty tore up too, so that didn't help.
Yeah, that was for sure. Had a tore up race car. I don't think he had a nose or a bumper after the end of this night. But second place finish, a great thing to say from it. So you want to thank for making the second place finish possible.
Yeah, everybody over at Wolf Racing, Wobbly Arrow Podcast, Sean Shitty Sliders, Racing for Heroes, iRacing, iFlags, CNC Race Designs, and you guys for putting it on.
All right. Thank you, Gene, for joining tonight, and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Gene Wolf in the 800 picking up a second place finish tonight as Kenneth Bueno's caught up with the number 13 of Quentin Haley.
Here, of course, the driver, the 13, who started second, ends up at the tail end of the podium here tonight from Volusia. Quentin, I know, was up and down all night long, but one thing was for certain. Your car had speed, you were dominant at one point throughout this race. Give us your perspective going into tonight's feature and obviously how you feel now coming out of it.
Yeah, that was a really good race, all things considered. Surprisingly, I said this to the guys in my call, but that thing drove more like a dirt modified in real life than the dirt modifieds in the game do. But, I just knew going off the start that I had to be aggressive. Josh, he's a really good driver, so is Brayson Collins. But, yeah, just getting aggressive and trying to put myself out front there. Then there was that mid-race call I don't necessarily agree with, but that, that is what it is. That's just racing for you. But I'm happy to finish third.
And he rebounded, of course, after the end of line penalty with the incident on the restart. But especially through a majority of this race, it looked like it was you and two other cars in contention for the win. You, Josh Patterson, and Brayson Collins, all three of you very fast within that race. How was the dynamic working around them? Was it very fun working with them, or was it a little bit frustrating seeing them constantly go for moves? How was that from your end, watching the battle between you three?
It was a lot of fun when I was around them. There was a period of time where it pulled away, I think, to about 2.5 seconds. And that was when I was having the most fun, just when I was out front. But racing around them is always a good time. I think they're a little more upset with me than I am at them. But again, you'll have that in racing. We're friends, so it is what it is, Of
course, hard racing going all the way to the finish, and you end up rebounding with a front clip not on the front of your race car to end up in P3. Still a valiant effort nonetheless. Quentin, before we let you go, here from Volusia Speedway Park, is there anybody you just want to thank for making this run tonight happen?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my real-life sponsors, Lethal Chassis, Fraternal Order of Eagle, Dark Horse Race Cars, Leaf Filter, Daily Fitness, and Fox Shocks.
We certainly appreciate the time, Quentin. On behalf of our team, I want to congratulate you on the third place finish here tonight from Volusia County and Volusia Speedway. Wishing you the best of luck as we head into Darlington 1 week from today.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
And it's Quentin Haley, the 13 driver, who caps off the top three and our interview segment of tonight's broadcast. So as the sun sets, as the night falls over the Volusia Speedway Park, we have officially concluded, Keelan, our first dirt race of the season. It was very wild. I figured we expected that, but no doubt a lot of fast cars, a lot of great racing, and I think at least for the first dirt race with these Xfinity Series cars, a combo you don't really see often at all in any capacity, definitely lived up to the hype note for sure.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, they were beating and banging all race. We saw it on every restart. The lines just differed from the bottom to the top, and then guys beating and banging off the starts. It was a fun race to watch, and just one I really enjoyed. And then Josh Patterson, he put on a great show tonight, led a lot of laps. So did Quentin Haley in the 13. If only he had maybe 10 more laps after that EOL, after he made up a bunch of positions, he might have had a shot on that 0-2 in the 800. Gene Wolf was right there, but a lot of fast race cars, a lot of guys going for the win, but Josh Patterson, he ended up coming out on top.
Josh Patterson with his very first checkered flag of this 2022 WORC Dynamo Designs National Series season. Well, if you thought it was hard to drive here with these Xfinity Series cars on a dirt track, it's going to get a lot harder 1 week from today, because coupled with the playoffs is a track too tough to tame, the Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. Our first race in the round of 14. Of course, we'll go through all the playoff scenarios with you when we start the pre-race coverage for that. But of course, the coverage will begin at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can find it right here, same time, same place, on the KBueno Racing Network YouTube channel, and you'll be sure to find Keenan Belshaw alongside myself in the booth for all of the action in the Lady in Black. That's going to be so much fun. First round of the playoffs. We'll see who can overcome the obstacles. We'll see who ends up falling through the cracks at that very tough 1.3 mile racetrack. So that does it for our coverage of the Volusia Ironman Nationals for the WORC regular season finale in the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series season. For everybody that makes it all possible on the admin team, for Brayson Collins, Josh Patterson, all of the admins that put up these races each and every week, and on behalf of all of us at the KBueno Racing Network, for Francisco Bacallao, for Charlie Meyer, and for my colleague in the booth tonight, Keelan Belshaw, my name is Kenneth Bueno. Saying so long, good night from Volusia County. We're gonna head all the way up north to the Darlington, South Carolina racetrack in 1 week time.